issues of the community in Roswell since 1943, which is exciting. So little happened before I was born. You know? GCG, Groveway Community Group, has a history of being civic-minded as evidenced by its efforts to provide resources to meet the community's needs, both big and small. The members actively seek to fulfill its mission in a myriad of ways, such as helping families in crisis situations, visiting nursing homes, and providing scholarships to deserving students. Groveway Community Group hosts an annual brunch for seniors and their caregivers, providing information to address end-of-life issues. It also holds semi-monthly clothing giveaways in the Groveway neighborhood. It hosts an annual community day in the park, providing community connections and resources to children and their families. Each year at its annual gala, Groveway Community Group provides scholarships to high school seniors. There are other organizations that offer some of the same services, but this organization is unique in critical ways. Groveway Community Group is an historically Black organization. Following the end of the Civil War, Roswell's Black residents established a close-knit community in the Groveway neighborhood. Between the 1860s and 1920s, many Black families driven out of Forsyth County for standing up for civil rights found a new home in Groveway. They became part of the community spirit of the neighborhood that expresses itself in Groveway Community Group's long-standing tagline, "If we can help somebody." The closing drives, scholarships, educational forums, and other services are ways in which people in the neighborhood help each other. In addition to participating in our 50-50 plate offering, you can support Groveway by volunteering for the clothing giveaway next Saturday or by purchasing a ticket to the 80th anniversary banquet on October 7th. Kennedy Knowles and I will be selling tickets and answering any questions or accepting offers of support you might have after the service out on the porch.
And finally, Earth Ministry would like to let you know about an opportunity to love your pollinators, butterflies and hummingbirds and bees included. There's a native plant sale this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Chattahoochee Nature Center, where you can buy some plants to support these. Yes, hi. We had another announcement. I'm all done. Yes.
We had a whole announcement planned for, darn it, every time I get on a microphone, I cry. I think it's just the actor in me. Should have worn mascara. We had plans to do a hilarious sketch, including a life preserver and some fins to announce the Harvest Moon was launching today. And I promise there will be other funny, fun sketches. Whether you want them or not, you will be assaulted with comedy before November 11th. But you want me to step back? Like this, over here. Okay, back here? Here? Okay. Thank you. I'm a professional, everybody. Learn from me. But what I want to share today about the Harvest Moon is that the reason we show up here is because of that interconnected web that supports all of us and all of the work that we do outside of this space. And as someone who witnessed and was a very small part of the action that kicked into gear the minute that Dave stood in front of those pieces of equipment, put me in such humble awe and love. And if I could show up in this space in any way, to help support that, that is what we do. And if it means buying a ticket to go to the Harvest Moon auction and having a great time, then that's what we should do. If it means... So, what? Amen. I did want to say that Davis as we were going through this journey of Dave and helping and supporting and figuring out the ways to make sure that they all were supported and the people who were showing up were supported, Davis was so scared for Dave. And she was crying for him. And she was crying. She was like, "Are you going to go to jail?" And I was like, "I hope not. But if I did," I said, "Dave is taken care of." And that doesn't take away from the action, but I saw what it is to stand up and to have support behind you as you do that in whatever way we can show that support. And I shared that with Davis. I said, if you stand up for what you believe in and what you feel is right, there will be people there to support you as best as they can. And that doesn't mean it'll be easy, but it means that at least some of that burden will be shared. And so buy a ticket to the Harvest Moon on November 11th to help share that burden. But really, I come up here with gratitude for this community and for Dave and for everyone and you who really continue to show up for their values. So thank you very much. November 11th. I'll see you there.
Thank you so much.
Oh, she's great. Davis is great.
Thank you, Kennedy, and everyone else this morning who's made these announcements so lively. Thank you. Now, let us greet one another in the hand of friendship.
You're being upstage all over the place, aren't you? That's all right. So what we usually do is when you think it's about right, I'll start making some noise and they'll sit down. Or if you forget, I'll just do it. All right, all right.
Good morning again. The Song of Wonders. O world, where miracles spring up to meet us along the way, we hold you close and give thanks for morning light, for evening calm. Sun and moon, sea and sky, snow and mist, city streets and country lanes. What joy to know you, how excellent to touch you. To live and nothing more, would be enough to make us glad. Yet morning, noon, and night, a task awaits us. The lost and hungry to be found and fed, the sick and sad to be healed and cheered, a peaceful world to be built and kept. Blessed is the gift of life, blessed the source of life and its tasks. And now let us light our chalice together.
Our chalice lighting this morning is called There Is Light by Eric Williams. In the beginning, there was light, infinite and expansive, flowing out from an unseen center. Throughout creation, there is light from the steady sun, the glowing moon, the flashing meteor, the twinkling stars, and the auroras dancing in the northern skies. Within each part of creation, there is light, slowed down and held close by every cell and molecule, by each atom and element. Within you, there is light, the same light as the source, the same radiance that is in all creatures. May this small flame be a constant reminder to you of your true nature and your kinship with all beings.
Now, please rise as you're willing and able and join us in singing hymn number 361. That's 361 in the gray hymnal. This is Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. I'll play it one time through, and then you join in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Now, in this point in our service, we share our joys with each other to magnify them and our sorrows to divide the weight of their pain. If you are so moved, please feel free to come forward. Drop a pebble into the bowl and express a joy or a sorrow that you may have into the floor microphone. And for those of you who are attending this morning via our live chat, please enter your joys and sorrows into the chat, and those that show up, I will read aloud.
Hi, I'm Mike Chambers. This week it will be 6 years since I stood right over there and did the smartest thing I've ever done. I married Donna Gowan. Our niece, when she heard that we were engaged, she said it just made her sad because we were so old we wouldn't have much time together. But 6 years and still counting.
Good morning, I'm Gary Denning. I had the joy of dropping off my older daughter at NYU a couple weekends ago, and the added joy that she actually shed some tears when we parted. She made it a very sentimental moment for me. And then a few hours later, she called me and said, could you please come over again? And so we spent some more time together late into the night. And then I left town for a week to go up and visit some relatives in Boston. And when I came back through town, she said, please come over, I want to have some breakfast with you. And we sat and had breakfast before her first class. And then she said, could you walk with me? And I walked her to class. And it gets better yet. We were hugging goodbye right in front of her first class, which was gender in the law. I look forward to hearing about that. We were hugging, and just as she was releasing me, a girl walked by and said, hey, Sugar, how you doing? And Sugar said, hey, Susan, this is my dad. Never would have imagined that. So anyway, that's my joy.
A couple of weeks ago, I shared a sorrow that my best friend's husband was in the hospital with pneumonia and COVID. And today I have a joy because after 5 days on a ventilator, his body was able to start healing, and he has now been sent home as of yesterday. So he starts the rehab process and all of that, but he's home with his young children and his wife, and we could not be happier.
Hi, I'm Dirk Bender. This is my wife, Ann Bender. She's let me do the talking. She's going to do the physical work, and that's usually the way things work around our household. Back on September 9th, 1990, Ann and I tied the knot. For those of you who are good at math, this is what I like to call our Rolling Rock anniversary. For those of you who are more theologically minded, you can think of it as Jesus' age anniversary. Anyway, it's been 33 years. As they say around here, I definitely married up. I couldn't be happier. Thank you.
I'm Jim Saunders. I've been a member of this congregation for about 30 years. And I did not share a sorrow with you 4 months ago when I was let go of my job. And I swear to God, on the separation notice, the only thing they put was, he's too friendly to customers. And he jokes with customers. I told one joke as a icebreaker that increased our good reviews by 500%. And that is, what do you call a rabbit with fleas? Bugs Bunny. But the joy, to follow this up, is I'm now working at the Publix Deli across from Merchants Walk. And to show my support for the auction, I'd like to make a bid on something I'm sure will be done by then. I want to bid $50 on Dave's letters from the jail.
I'm Carla Rosati. I'm a co-chair of the Social Justice Committee. And like Kennedy, I love to cry in front of a microphone. So let's see how long that takes. I have so many things to say this morning. Grateful for your courage. I have, see, it's a magnet. I have concern for the people of Morocco, especially in the Atlas Mountain. As of this morning, 2,000 died. And I feel so sad for all those families left behind that lost so many people. I also have more than a joy or a sorrow reflection. Last night, driving home by myself after a concert that I attended with a friend, somebody smacked into the back of my car. And I was concerned at first. My head jerked a little bit. My glasses flew in the car. But I decided to get out to see what was going on. And obviously, the people that crashed against me were in doubt about what to do. I was calm. I walked outside. I stopped by their window. I couldn't see who was inside. They were not lowering their window. So I stood there and I decided to take a picture of their license plate. And finally, this lady lowered her window. I could see that they were really scared inside the car. So I said, well, why don't you pull over? I just want to take a picture of your license. And I could see that they were having this moral dilemma inside the car. What is the right thing to do? There was something wrong inside that car. I don't know what it was. And as I stood there, 11 p.m. by myself, they decided to drive away. I, for some weird reason, decided to follow them. And at some point, I decided, you know what, this is not good. It's not safe for them, it's not safe for me. So I decided to go and just file a report at the Dunwoody police station. But through all this, I'm thinking, what is going on inside that car? What is the fear? What's going on in their lives that makes them take that wrong decision of fleeing the scene? So this morning, this is what's lingering with me, is what makes us flee when we know we've wronged people?
Hi, I'm very short. Hi. So my name is Valerie Camaño. I've been coming here for a little over a month, but I have a joy and a sorrow. So a couple weeks ago, my grandfather passed away, and it was literally the morning after I was here, kind of keeping him in our thoughts and the general aura of hopefully he'll come back. But he passed away, and after a lot of travel and talking with family who are very different, very conservative, Society of St. Pius X, if you know what that is, you know what that is. I had a lot of discussion with them, and although ultimately I don't know, I'm still very conflicted about my religious beliefs. I know that whenever I do think of him and his life and the things that he has contributed to literally everybody that met him, I'm at peace. So it's a joy and a sorrow that he's not with us, but he is with us. So.
My name is Gus Haydorn. It is a joy, a great joy, to be in community with people that live their values and are willing to put their lives on the line when that is required.
I know you guys know this, but some of you might. I'm still very sad that my dog passed away.
Hello. Lots of big feelings today. I'm Lexi. This is Coda. And if you didn't know, we had to have a C-section because Coda's breech. And turns out that he has some pretty significant hip dysplasia. We found out on Friday that he's going to have some pretty intensive procedures to correct it. So he's going to be in a cast probably starting next month. And it's just really sad. But he's still perfect.
Hello, I'm Charlie. This is my sister Catherine, and this is my little brother Henry. And today is our dad's birthday, so we're gonna go on a hike and stuff and have some fun. So, yay!
Happy birthday, we love you.
Adult fun.
Big handful here. Well, a joy to parenthood, man. From there, and carrying those who are of us and are of us as we move through this. So that's just an impromptu joy. I would like to just put a pebble in, I do every year, for September 11th, that's tomorrow, and those of us who were a part of it either on the ground or outside in the world. So just carrying that love and that we continue to heal and spread love and the message of inclusiveness so that we all feel we have a voice. And then finally, yesterday, I got to spend time with a former student of mine who is starring in English at the Alliance Theater. She is an Iranian trans woman who escaped Iran with her mother after she had already transitioned when she was 19. And to sit in space with her and to hear her being so present with who she is and fully okay with where she is and the success that she has after the struggles of her life reminded me that we are all healing and on that journey, and that there is always hope for us all. And so for Puya Mohensi, a deep pebble of joy for where she sits in her life right now.
Hi, I'm Bruce Lang, 1996. A couple of weeks ago, I stood here and I mentioned that my sister Blake had a stroke, which is, sad and unfortunate. However, a very good thing about that is that she has a tremendous family and group of friends that are helping her and supporting her. She was in a care facility for just 2 weeks, and she got out on her wedding anniversary, which was also September 9th. And she's home, and we're all very glad and happy about that.
Just a quick pebble. Some of you know today is World Suicide Awareness Day, and so this is for those that are have been affected by it, and for those of us who may not have yet, to become more aware.
And from Tanya Romine, who joins us via the live chat, I have a pebble of thankfulness. She says Jim and she are very humbled by the love and support they continue to receive. You can follow Jim's journey on Caring Bridge. Regular posts are made with all updates. And Steve Allerton shares a pebble for the passing of a longtime friend, Ann Holliday. And I'll drop one final pebble for all those joys and sorrows still too dear to be spoken aloud. May we keep one another in our hearts for the coming week.
It's so wonderful that we can share joys and sorrows together so that we can support one another when some aren't doing so well, and then when they're doing well, they can support others who aren't doing well. It's such a great gift to do that and have an outlet to do this publicly. At the beginning of time, before anything else existed, love was all there was. And it filled up everything in the whole universe. But love was getting bored and lonely. And she decided to make a world. So she took a deep breath, and squeezed out darkness. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Darkness everywhere. It was beautiful, but you couldn't see it. She says, I have to do something about this. She thought about it for a minute. She thought some beautiful, warm thoughts. And love called out, I want light. And pop, all the warm, wonderful thoughts, sparks of love, flew outward in all directions. And they shaped themselves into 10 glass spherical balls of pure light. Yet not all the beautiful, warm thoughts, the sparks, were able to get to one of the balls. Some were scattered about. And love said, this is amazing. This is amazing. I better make something for the light to shine on. So she waved her arms and kicked her legs. And all of those sparks and thoughts, warm thoughts, wonderful thoughts, that weren't part of the 10 balls, formed together and formed the earth. Water, sky, air, plants, and animals. Then love caused those 10 balls, spherical balls of light, to descend towards the earth slowly. And if they had remained intact, it would have been the perfect world that love had envisioned. Yet the balls were too fragile, and they broke. And the contents, the warm, beautiful sparks of love, scattered everywhere in the earth. They broke open, scattered everywhere. Oh no, said love, I'll never be able to pick all these pieces up and put them back together. I have to make one more thing. And she waved her arms and kicked her legs. And people appeared on the earth. And they were created for one reason only: to find all those sparks, to find all those tiny bits of wonderful goodness and bring them back together. And love said, when all the warm sparks, wonderful thoughts come back together, I will recreate a big glass container to hold them. And this time, I will set them down more carefully.
This anthem was written in response to the World Trade Center tragedy of September 11, 2001. We live in an age filled with threats of terrorism, violence, and world unrest. This piece is intended to provide an opportunity to calm our fears and focus on peace from within as well as with our fellow human beings.
Judaism's high holy days, as specified in the 23rd chapter of Leviticus, commence on the first day of the 7th month of the Judaic calendar. This first day is known as Rosh Hashanah, the festival of trumpets, and it is celebrated as the Jewish New Year, commemorating the beginning of humanity's role in God's world. This year it begins this Friday, September 15th at sundown. The book of Leviticus is the third book of the Hebrew Bible, used to be known as like the Old Testament. In the Judaic tradition, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, are called the Torah, the written on scrolls. The Torah was likely composed around the 6th century BCE. In addition to written Torah, however, there are additional scriptures in the Judaic tradition. The Talmud is oral Torah plus descriptions and commentaries and arguments about that written Torah. That's the Talmud. And that was written about the 2nd century CE of the Common Era. More recently, like the 12th century, there was mystical Judaic traditions called the Kabbalah. They began to develop, again, around the 12th century. And I say traditions because there's many different threads of Kabbalah. Among other things, the mystical traditions of Kabbalah expanded upon an interesting idea. Here's one of them. The idea of tzaddikim nesterim, or Lamed Vav Tzadikim. Tzadikim. Tzadikim means righteous. Nesterim means hidden. Lamed Vav means 36. So the idea is this, that there are 36 hidden righteous people in the world whose role is to justify the purpose of humankind in the eyes of God. Jewish tradition holds that their identities are unknown to each other, and that if one of them comes to the own realization of their own identity as one of the 36, they would never admit it to anyone. Without the 36, humanity and the world could not exist. A scenario like this is played out in the book of Genesis when Abraham negotiates with the Lord regarding the fate of Sodom. From Genesis chapter 18. They looked down toward Sodom, and the Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sin is so grievous, that I will go down and see if what they have done is as bad as the outcry that has reached me." Then Abraham approached the Lord and said, "Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? What if there are 50 righteous people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the 50 righteous people in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous with the wicked, treating the righteous and the wicked alike. Far be it from you. Will not the judge of all the earth do right?" And the Lord said, "If I find 50 righteous people in the city of Sodom, I will spare the whole place for their sake." Then Abraham spoke up again. "Now that I have been so bold as to speak to the Lord, though I am nothing but dust and ashes, what if the number of righteous were 5 less than 50? Will you destroy the whole city for lack of 5 people?" The Lord replied, "If I find 45 there, I will not destroy it." Once again, Abraham spoke up. "What if only 40 are found there?" The Lord replied, "For the sake of 40, I will not do it." "Abraham, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak. What if only 30 can be found there?" The Lord replied, "I will not do it if I find 30. "Abraham, now that I have been so bold as to speak to the Lord, what if only 20 can be found there?" "For the sake of 20, the Lord replied, "I will not destroy it." "Abraham, may the Lord not be angry, but let me speak just once more. What if only 10 can be found there?" The Lord replied, "For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it." When the Lord had finished speaking with Abraham, he left and Abraham returned home. That's from Genesis 18. Then some horrific events transpire in Sodom, and the next day the Lord destroys the entire city. As a sidebar, this is a fascinating conversation. That Abraham, a mortal, is not only negotiating, but admonishing the Lord. I mean, he says, "Far be it from you to do such a thing. Will not the judge of the earth do right?" Wow. That's amazing. Anyway, back to the 36 Tzadikim Nesterim. The Lamed Vavniks, the 36 hidden righteous ones. We don't know who they are. They could be the person at the Kroger checkout counter, the person sitting next to you on a MARTA bus or train. Maybe, perhaps, one of our homeless family promise guests, maybe somebody in this room. We don't know who they are. They don't even know who they are. Claiming to be one of them is a sure sign that they are not one of them. I don't need to explain that to you. But in case you didn't pick up on it, I have an explanation. The Rabbi Raymond Zwerin writes that since the 36 are each exemplars of anava, humility, having such a virtue would preclude against one's self-proclamation of being amongst the special righteous. So what does it mean for the Jewish people who believe in the 36? Possibly the same thing that it could mean for us. That since nobody knows who the 36 are, even themselves, we should behave in such a way that is worthy of being one of them. To always extend in every interaction, in every word, and in every deed, our values of love, connection, wonder, and awe, courage, and justice, to extend that into the world. If you want to strive for justice and transform the world, that is the way to begin. You do not need to stand in front of a bulldozer. That is the way to begin, to extend our values of love, connection, wonder, awe, courage, and justice into the world in every interaction and every deed. To act in such a way as being worthy of being one of the 36. Extending your beautiful self, and you are beautiful selves. And everyone in that jail is a beautiful person. Extend yourself into that broken world and make your contribution. A gentle tipping of the scale towards love and justice, which are really the same thing, love and justice. Tipping that scale to create the world that we dream about.
In an effort to fulfill and further the vision and mission of this congregation, we ask our members and friends to share of their time, treasure, and talents. And with this, we will now gratefully receive the offering, passing the basket, and you may also give using the Givelify app.
Thank you. We give thanks for this generous offering given by our beloved members and friends. May we use it wisely and judiciously in service to our mission. A Rosh Hashanah prayer. In the twilight of the vanishing year, we lift up our hearts in thanksgiving. Our souls are stirred by the memory of joy as the new year begins. We were sustained by love and kindness, comforted in times of sorrow, found happiness in our homes and gladness with our friends. We lift up our hearts in thanksgiving as the new year begins. As the new year begins, our spirits rise in grateful song. But there were dreams that came to naught, and times that we refused to dream. These which with much regret we now remember as the new year begins. As the new year begins, contrition fills our thoughts. Some of our days were dark with grief. Many a tear furrowed our cheeks. Alas, for the tender ties that were broken. We look back with sorrow as the new year begins. As the new year begins, tears well up within us. Yet we look ahead with hope, giving thanks for the daily miracle of renewal, for the promise of good to come. May this Rosh Hashanah, birthday of the world, be our day of rebirth into life and peace, serenity and safety as the new year begins. As the new year begins, so is hope born within us. And now let us enter into a moment of shared silence. Amen.
Please rise as you are willing and able and join us in singing hymn number 118. That's 118 in the gray hymnal, This Little Light of Mine. I'll play it through one time to let you hear the melody. You know what? I'm going to do an audible. I think y'all know this one. So. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. There we go. I'm gonna let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Before we extinguish our chalice, I just would like to say thank you to everyone for making today's service so heart-filled, and especially John for leading us in music when Alex is on vacation. Now, would you please join me using the words found in your printed bulletin as we extinguish our chalice together? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These
There are moments when we hear the call of our higher selves, the call that links us to the divine. Then we know how blessed we are in life and love. May this be such a moment, a time of deeper attachments to the godlike in us and in our world. Go in peace and enjoy your week.
Oh, goodness.